Neisau Tuidraki, and we are now doing our final interview for Behind the Sacrifice with the brains, with the man with the vision, the one who has brought everybody together. Meli Tuqota, how's it going, Meli?
Well, it's going very good. I'm actually, you can't really tell, but I'm actually sweating right now because it's really hot here right now, summer.
Oh my God, us too. It's 36 degrees here in Melbourne. So same.
Yeah, same, man.
I know. But like before we get into it, I just want to do you did it. You did it. You launched the movie. Yay.
Yay, we did it. Group effort.
So, I mean, this is pretty amazing, Meli. Just looking at the hours and whatnot. I mean, like it's sort of like looking back on the journey. What's something that you found the most difficult, or what were the stumbling blocks for you?
I guess, I mean, there's definitely a lot. I will pinpoint some of the stumbling blocks that was new to me. First of all, doing the Kickstarter to fundraise for the production was a very stressful time for me. Super stressful because, if it didn't work out, I was mentally telling myself it's fine. But at the same time, especially when it's like inching closer and closer, like there's this hope that we'd get it funded. But at the same time, I don't want to put my hopes too high. So this is battle of like, okay, are we gonna make it? Maybe, but if it doesn't, it's okay. It's okay. And even though I'm saying it's okay, inside it is pretty stressful for me. So when we did hit our funding goal, it was a huge sigh of relief. Not so much that we just got the money, but more so for me, that was one huge big stressful moment out of the way. It's funny because after that, production was, with all the COVID, we had to work from home. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward, and with a few hiccups here and there, and a bit of a push at the end. That was for me like looking back, that was one of the most stressful events of the production, which was the fundraising. The second, I think another one was, there was a moment just before the completion of the film where we were all rushing our work to try and get it ready for the premiere. And I've read that this is what some other filmmakers go through. They get to this point where they realize that all the stuff that they've been working on over time, it's finally coming to a completion, and then there's this feeling of like almost like emptiness, like all this hard work, all this fun stuff, it's all done now, and there's this weird sort of like feeling in your chest where you're done, and nothing seems fun at all. And so there's this brief moment before and just after it was done, where I was just, it was pretty weird. Like I did feel strangely down after the production was done. Relieved, and also like, yeah, pretty down. It didn't last for long, but it was something new for me that I didn't experience when I worked on my first film, because that one was a lot more a solo effort. For this one, with a whole lot of group effort, this is a whole lot of noise and like, yeah, let's do this and do that. I need this. Can you do that? And then when everything's done and this is sort of like quiet in between, and then this is, yeah, just that sad feeling. It was weird and not fun. But I've read, I've watched other directors mention about this. It kind of prepared me for this, for that feeling. And A, I was happy that I recognized it, and B, I was like, okay, the thing you have to remind yourself is that you can get past it. And so that was one of the main hurdles that I had to face during the production of this film.
But I mean, look, you've told this amazing story, and it's a story that's sort of been weaved together by all these fantastic artists from Fiji, and it's like in my past interviews with the crew, I've basically told them, like, this has never been done before, guys. Like, it's pretty amazing what you have done. So I guess my next question is, like, how do you plan, like, what are the future plans for you in terms of, like, just taking this energy that you guys have created and you know, going forward to create more stories? You know, what do you think the next steps are?
For me, live action filmmaking is something that I want to dip my toes into. Things were a bit difficult last year because of the second wave and the lockdown, but this year sort of like with the I mean, even though we've got the new variant, sorry, of the virus, it's still, we can still sort of go back to normal-ish. And so I want to experiment and work with live action filmmaking. And so that's something that I'm starting to work on. At the same time, I'm trying to get this film sent around the world with film festivals, try and get it entered.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is such cool
Yeah,
work. I want the world to
absolutely.
see it, you know, besides
Yeah,
putting it on the internet.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like my next question, you know, like you've launched it, you know, like what is post Sorimbola now? What is the next steps for Sorimbola? Like, what are you doing to get it out there?
So is several things. For the first is the you submit it to film festivals, the ones that I can afford to submit, because some of them can get pretty dicey in terms of like entry fees.
Very
But
expensive, eh?
yeah, so you kind of have to choose the film festivals that are relevant to your film or that you want to try. So like for me, I'm targeting the indigenous film festivals as well as some animation film festivals and one or two of the big name ones. I probably won't get into the big name ones, but hey, you know, you don't know until you.
Hey, you never know, you might strike another luck, man.
True. Not with that attitude. Okay, but yeah. So it's I got to keep the number of submissions to film festivals small, so that within budget. That's the first part. The other half is I'm still finishing off the Kickstarter rewards. The one that I'm working on is the production booklet. That's the details, all the behind the scenes of how the film was made. You know, the art, different types of concept art, the 3D rendering, all the information about how Solimbola was made. That's all going to be put into a booklet and gifted specifically for our backers. Thank you very much to you guys.
Oh, Kickstarter backers, you amazing. So I mean, you know, you're talking about doing all this stuff for the Kickstarter backers. Are you gonna have any merch soon? Because like I've had a couple of cousins asking, it's like, are there any t-shirts? Like I'd really love a Solimbola film t-shirt, or like I was like, I will ask Meli the next time I talk to him.
That's actually something that I've been exploring, but I actually want to finish off all the Kickstarter stuff, you know, one boss at a time. Technically speaking, Kickstarter backers, you guys are my boss, you know. So I want to make sure that all the rewards are all completed and done and dusted before I can start to look to explore those options. But financial ask, I do have something that I'm trying to put together, some merch. It would be cool. It would be cool. You know, having the drawer on the shirt would be cool. So yes,
Yeah,
that is definitely something that as the government gang like to say, it's in the pipeline.
yeah, in the pipeline, coming soon,
Coming soon, TM.
You know, you just circling back to the crew, you know, like you were basically managing you know, this group of creatives and keeping them, you know, like keeping them to a deadline, and that's basically a managerial role, you know, like how did you find that? How did you find like sort of that process of going, this is our timeline, guys, I need X, Y, and Z? Like, how did that work? How did that work with your team?
I will say straight off the bat, I'm not very good at being bossy. I am a very like, hey, okay, hey, here's the dates. Okay, we do it. Set. If there's one thing that I sort of kind of have to work on is to be a bit more like, okay, we're gonna need this, you know, soon.
Assertive.
Yeah, a bit more assertive, I think. But having said that, working with the team was a dream. We actually had a date, but certain events came up during production that couldn't be helped, that pushed the production deadline forward. But we just rolled with the punches. We swapped around roles a bit. Some people got more additional work so that to help spread out the work more, so that we were able to meet our deadline. So although I'm not quite as assertive as I'd like to be, I still managed to like shift things around to make sure things were done on time. And yeah, I'm really glad that the gang that I worked with, all those guys, they were all on board and willing to get the work done in time.
So my next question is, how, for you personally, how has the public received the film? Like, have you got any feedback or criticism? I mean, like, what's that been like for you? So
I only put the film online for a brief period of 2 weeks, unfortunately, because, it's funny, when you submit films, they ask you, what's the premiere status of your film? And so the film festivals, they want the draw of like, so-and-so's, premiere at our film festival. Come watch the film at that's their draw to premiere worldwide. And so unfortunately for my film, I was more interested in getting Fiji gang to watch it before I submitted to film festivals. So now when I submitted it online, I have to set the status to maybe it's debuting first time in the Northern Hemisphere. Maybe it's not so much a world premiere, because world premiere, we've done that. So I've only submitted it for online. I mean, I put it online for 2 weeks, and in that brief 2 weeks, there has been a ton of positive feedback. I'm very happy that a lot of people watched it and were very much engaged and taken up in the moment. A lot of people like, hey, this is something that I've never seen on seen on the screen, to see the Itaukei culture represented on screen, which is a big draw for me, which is what I wanted to do. That was one of my aims. Other people said, it's funny because like before I started production, when the Kickstarter was going on, one person emailed me and asked me if this was going to be like a pro pure Itaukei race kind of film. And so that's a good question and a tricky one. I had to think a lot about it, because generally I wasn't interested in trying to push one certain agenda or another. I was just interested in depicting what a type of Fiji would look like. And thankfully in the research, Mr. Seven Jr. pointed out that in the old days, Itaukei were very like chill with whoever came by. You from another island, whatever, you come and stay in Fiji, you're now Fijian. So I really like that attitude. But going back to that original question, I had a specific view and I didn't have a message to push across. So what people took from that film after watching it, that's totally up to them, which was very interesting. So I've gotten a lot of like questions. Like one person's like, is this like a pro like westernization thing? Like, look at what westernization has done. We don't do these silly sacrifices anymore, and so and another person was like, is this like a pro Christianity thing? Like, thanks to Christianity, we don't sacrifice people anymore. And so you got all these varying options, and all of them are equally valid, because it makes you think. And I that's what I wanted. I want to see what people thought about when they saw the film, as well as how they sort of like apply to themselves, like where do they stand in how they view the film. And so that was one of the few interesting comments and feedbacks that I received from the film, but a lot of positive ones as well.
But and I think that's what, I think artistic movies or animated films are supposed to do, is to make you think, it's to make you question, and it's to make you, and I love the fact that you've got all these different views being shared with you, because I mean, some of those views, I didn't even think about that, right? I was totally leaning towards the dark side.
You had an interesting view when you first saw it, remember?
I know. I was like, it was very, it for me, it really captured the dark side of like mobile phones and the internet. And I thought that was such a powerful message, right? And when it was up, my daughter, my 12-year-old daughter was watching it, and like the first time she watched it, she was like, Ma, can you just rewind again? I need to watch. She was, like she just, there was so much going on there, like she needed to watch it. I think she watched it like 2 or 3 times. And before I asked her, I was like, what do you think? And she goes,
Nice.
It's very scary. Like it makes me think about my use of phones.
I mean, I guess you can thank me for that, Neisau.
No, right. And for me personally, I was like, I love that. I love the fact that you're creating content, you're creating movies that are just generating discussions and different points of views, right? I mean, like this is what it's all about. It's, everybody's got different point of views, you may not necessarily agree with it, but I love that stimulating conversation.
Yeah.
I guess my final question for you is, is there another animated story in the pipeline that we can expect?
So
I
I will say,
stop it.
when I mentioned that I wanted to explore live action, the difference between live action and animation is that live action, you can kind of just pick up a camera and off you go, right? You can shoot something as long as your story isn't too, no spaceships or something. You can just do a story about some person on the street. It's very easy to pick up and do, and do it in a short amount of time, and then you have a short film. With animation, it's a pretty long, exhaustive process, and requires a lot more technical stuff and a lot more technical knowledge. That, I mean, in comparison to what I'm saying from my point of view and what I have access here in Fiji, in terms of people who know how to do this kind of stuff. So I do have another script for animation. I will put that on the side, and I want to work more on live action film until I can get. There was another idea I had for an animated film, but it was it was a bit more bigger in terms of production and scale. So I actually put that aside, and then I went and did this one. So even though, like, the production budget, it's 14,000, almost 15,000 Fijian dollars. That's a lot for a short film.
Yeah.
But that was, in terms of scope, that was actually kind of small. The next one that I want to do is actually a lot bigger. So I want to put that aside and maybe, get a little more experience, find more people who can, help with this work, or can join the squad, and basically work my way towards the next production. So in saying that, yes, there is
another story.
There's another story, but very longer pipeline.
But it's a bit further back, and we might need to reassess the time schedule.
Yeah, it's a big production.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much to for you coming out to discuss post Soli Bula launch. All the best with the film festivals, and congratulations on completing the journey that is Soli Bula.
Before we go, I want to say thank you, Neisau. I've mentioned multiple times in the production that you are our production angel who helped get the funds over to us and have been with us all the step of the way. So to all of you that are watching, please put a thumbs up in the chat for Neisau.
I did nothing.
She's been a great help to us. I can't do this. I can't interview myself, or I can't interview the other guys. So thank you very much, Neisau, for being with us all the step away.
You're very welcome, Meli. Mode manda.
Mode, everyone. Maka.